Hello and welcome back to our channel. In today's episode, we will be talking about the secret to athletic performance and strength, and you will be surprised. It's the oblique sling. Okay, now what's an oblique sling? The term oblique sling might be new to some. Your oblique sling is a muscle line that runs from your shoulder to the opposite side of your pelvis. Right shoulder to left hip, and left shoulder to right hip, in other words. Our pelvis turns into a sideline due to this line of muscles. As previously said, it is our whip. When looking at your torso, the external oblique starts right above the hip, then travels to the rectus abdominis, internal oblique, serratus, and pec on the other side. Ooh, that's too many medical terms. These are the muscles of your abdomen. When you draw this muscle line anatomically, you can see how important it is for rotation. It is essential in all rotational sports. As the strength coach who primarily works with overhead and rotational athletes, this is a crucial idea to grasp and continue to address and fine-tune. Your oblique sling heavily influences the stretch reflex of throwing. The stretch reflex, also known as the stretch shortening cycle, is a reaction that occurs when the body is stretched. The stretch reflex causes the muscles concerned in the activity to extend eccentrically, storing elastic energy and allowing us to create power. After an eccentric contraction, a period of amortization occurs, which is a brief break that allows the conserved elastic energy to be converted to kinetic energy. When extended muscle contracts concentrically, the stretch reflex is completed and this energy is dissipated. When throwing, we increase the stretch reflex by lengthening the movement and distancing the shoulders from the pelvis. The X factor is the name given to this distinction. It produces a whipping motion that allows you to throw far and powerfully. The faster the whip, the longer it is. Our capability to load this sling is based on producing and sustaining intra-abdominal pressure and optimal joint placement. We can transmit this maximum force from the ground into the ball to maintain IAP and typical posture. Moreover, superior joint placement allows for greater coactivation around a joint, allowing for maximum length via the sling, better loading via the stretch reflex, and the capacity to generate/transfer more force into the ball. All of this contributes to the ball's increased velocity. Biological and structural factors limit our ranges of motion and our potential to create speeds. Most of us were not blessed with genes and synchronization that are unfathomable, and some of us had terrible training that taught us bad mechanics that robbed us of our power and speed. Because they have lost the capacity to load the oblique sling correctly, these athletes have a more challenging time reaping the full advantages. However, we can improve each of these variables via training. These athletes have higher throwing velocity, improved power generation, and have minor discomfort. Let's take a closer look at how we might enhance the oblique sling. Well, your next question will be, how do we train ourselves the oblique sling? The best way to start training the oblique slings with contralateral hip and arm activation patterns is to start with a basic isometric sprinting simulation posture. Maintain a single leg stance while pushing the raised leg into a maximum 90-degree hip flexion and the arms into contralateral flexion and extension. And guys, to get the optimal foot posture for sprinting mechanics, maximize dorsiflexion in the angle of the elevated leg. In essence, you're holding an isometric stride position that resembles a sprinter's extensive driving position throughout the maximum velocity phase or upright position. Rather than allowing lumbar's extension to develop in the low back region, focus on bracing the daylights out of the core and bringing the stomach in as fiercely as possible. Additionally, continuously drive the knee and arms as aggressively as possible to create as much whole body tension as feasible. The oblique slings are helpful in this situation. The greater the leg of intramuscular force that should develop throughout your body as you drive the knee and arms harder while bracing the core and keeping perfect body alignment, the more it should ramp up to near peak levels from head to toe. In fact, this should be seen like a challenging workout overcoming isometric hold, with the individual exerting total physical and mental effort. This is one of those repetitions where you get out of it exactly what you put in. If you do it effectively, you should feel that you've completed numerous sprints with maximum effort. The single leg swap introduced the standing position can assist in uncovering and resolve a range of deficiencies along the kinetic chain, since any imbalance or volatility will end up causing the athlete to lose their equilibrium. Are you looking for a way to make the typical hip thrust or glute bridge more sport-specific, especially for running and sprinting? Combine contralateral knee drive while also incorporating contralateral upper extremity arm drive. The more complex one muscle group fires during contralateral movement patterns, that include reciprocal muscle activation of antagonist muscle groups. The more challenging and more aggressively opposing muscle is recruited. In this situation, intense activation of one hip flexor aids in the recruitment of the posterior chain in the opposite hip, which includes the glutes and the hamstrings. Can you believe it? The arms, on the other hand, play an essential function in activating the hip muscles. For example, activate the deltoids, biceps, and upper chest as the front/top arm drives into the shoulder flexion and elbow flexion, the obliques, adductors, and hip flexors of the opposite leg, as well as the entire core musculature that connects these muscles are activated. This exemplifies the anterior oblique sling's nature and function. Additionally, the more complex the opposite man's lat, tricep, and rear deltoid tighten while driving towards the floor, the more activated the opposite hip's low back, glutes, and hamstrings. The bigger the chain responds across the body when each hip drives into its correct position, the more active engagement among the numerous muscles that make up the posterior and anterior oblique sling occurs. Simply put, we've turned a simple single-leg glute bridge into a brutally painful yet beneficial full-body action that nearly mirrors the high-level full-body activation seen during sprinting. You may blend the single-arm and single-leg contralateral T-bench forms as well as the half-body protocol into one incredibly tough chest press variation if you want to get nuts with the oblique sling activation pattern. This is one of the most difficult full-body pressing exercises since you'll be required to engage practically every muscle in your body from head to toe while resisting massive rotational forces. Furthermore, because of the high amounts of sustained intramuscular stress throughout each set, this is one of the most physically taxing chest presses you'll ever attempt. It's not only one of the most painful glute workouts you ever do, but it's also one of the most hardcore exercises you'll ever do, since it destroys your obliques and transverse abs, as well as your rectus abdominis. Finally, if you have poor foot and ankle activation, you'll notice it quickly because maintaining your balance for more than a few seconds will be challenging. In fact, building well-defined foot and ankle alignment is the only means to achieve stability with your body on this action and find a strong position. With that in mind, if you can secure your place and stabilize your body, this is an excellent foot and ankle workout. Well, look no further than the dead bug bench press if you want to boost core activation and reduce lumbar extension during chest presses while also reinforcing whole body tension and spinal stiffness. It's highly accomplishment in removing that all too common excessive low back arch on the bench press. Apart from training contralateral knee drive, which improves athletic performance, there's also a substantial anti-rotation component that promotes elevated motor control while requiring the lifter to decelerate the reps and develop the power of the action. Many athletes prefer a single-arm dead bug chest press with significant anti-rotation. The single-arm form is a great 2-in-1 drill that targets not only the upper body, which is chest, shoulders, and triceps, but also the entire core and abdominal area, as well as the smaller muscles around the lumbopelvic hip system as you attempt to maintain your body from rolling over. In overhead sports, understanding the loading capacity of the oblique sling pays off. Through 3 critical paths, we, as strength coaches, may improve how an athlete employs this line of muscle. First, through developmental positions, mobility work, and joint placement, we seek to improve an athlete's capacity to make a longer whip. Second, strength training can improve an athlete's ability to generate force. Finally, with strength training and hard work, we may achieve higher velocity through the sling. The oblique sling will certainly boost rotational force in every sport requiring rotation. That's it for today's video. Were you aware of how to train your oblique sling to maximum potential? What is your favorite workout routine? Tell us all of this and give your suggestions in the comment section down below. We will catch you in the upcoming video. Till then, see ya!